Hey guys, welcome back to the Hill Online. I'm Dustin. This is Cassie. We're online campus pastors. And just let us know in the comments where you're watching from today. That's always fun for our chat hosts.
That's right, guys. We do. We have so many people in the chat just ready and willing to visit with you, chat with you, talk with you, pray with you, whatever that looks like. And they're glad that you're here. And you keep them going in the chat as well throughout service. So be sure and say hello in the chat.
Yeah, and that's right. Also, text the word connect, man, to 670-2727, man. Somebody will reach out to you this week, or if you just want to know more, man, we want you guys to connect with us.
That's right, guys. Whether that looks like maybe you're interested in joining a group or next steps baptism or anything that we can help you with, man, we would just love for you to reach out again to that number and just let us know how we can help.
Yeah, that's so good. Also, we're continuing our series, March Madness. It's been fun so far. We're going to be in Stockton today, and Pastor Bo is going to be bringing the word. And I just encourage you guys, man, the last 2 weeks have been good. Today's going to be just as good.
That's right, guys. Today we're talking all about assist. And man, I think it's going to be just a good time. We were recently over in Italy for our anniversary. And let me just tell you, we needed some assistance. Yeah. The language barrier was just a lot. And there was a time that we had to get out, our Google Translate. And thankfully, Dustin's way better at translating broken English than I am. I would have been lost without him. And so, there's times in our life where we need a little assistance, right? We need a little assist. And it's true of that in our faith walk as well. There are times in our faith walk where we just need an assist. And so, guys, we're covering that today, talking all about that today. It's going to be a great day.
Yeah, I just encourage you guys to just lean in, get your coffee ready, get your notepad, and just see what God's got in store for you today.
Absolutely, guys. And be sure and stick around after. We got a couple of announcements. We got Good Friday, Easter coming up, so we want to talk to you guys about that. But for now, let's head on in and worship together.
Come on. Who loves a good assist? Anybody? Yeah, listen, we all know John Stockton is the greatest assist guy of all time, but I don't know if you got to notice that arguably the best player ever was in that video. His name is Larry Bird. Come on, somebody. Can I get, sorry, I'm a Bird fan. Of course, Jordan, you can't beat Jordan. Can't beat Jordan. Hey, before we get into it, if you want the notes from today, you want to follow along and input, you can scan that QR code for our reflection card, but there's blanks and you can fill in the blanks as we go. Feel free to scan that now, and it'll be available at the very end. But anyhow, so we're talking, obviously we've been walking through March Madness, and we've been talking about the fundamentals of faith, right? We've been talking about what it takes to win basketball games, but really to win in this Christian walk, in our faith. And one of the keys is passing, and very specifically, assists. Now, an assist, not a cyst. I had someone ask the whole time they thought I was talking about a assist. And I was like, no, okay, let me define this a little tighter in the second service. An assist is whenever a pass directly leads to a made bucket. Now, personally, I love a good assist, especially when no one sees it coming. One of my favorites of all time was Jason Williams. He was coming down the floor, and he had, in a fast break, and he had a couple defenders, and he had a guy on his right and a guy on his left, and he throws a behind-the-back no-look to this guy, and the defender jumps over, and as he throws it, he elbows it back across the floor to this guy. It was incredible. It was awesome. I love a good no-look assist. Matter of fact, I was working with some high school boys a few years ago, and I had this kid posting up, and I'm dribbling the ball, and he's posting up, and I look at the top of the key, and I throw this no-look pass, and it almost dots this kid right in the face. Right by his head, right by his ear, and we turned it over, and I said, bro, you've got to be ready to catch that. I see you. You got to be ready. And the kid went, well, you weren't looking at me. And I said, that's the goal, bro. Like, that's the goal. If I look at you, they're going to play defense. And he goes, but you weren't looking at me. I said, man, here's the reality. Just because I ain't looking at you doesn't mean I don't see you. Come on. Sometimes in life, sometimes in ministry, honestly, sometimes just in our work, sometimes in our families, in lots of areas, we feel because maybe we're not the center of attention, or we feel that because we're not being looked at, that we're not being seen. Right? Sometimes we feel like that we're going unnoticed, and I just want to say a good father, the Father in heaven, and a good leader always sees who's open. Come on, somebody, right? Assists are very intentional to create great advantages that make a team unstoppable. Come on. Come on, a few keys. We got several scriptures that we're going to walk through, but before we do, I just want to talk 3 quick keys to have an assist, keys to giving assists. Number 1 is vision. Vision is not what you see with your eyes, it's what you see with your spirit. Right? All right, come on, Elijah, get this old, we got this old ball with no grip, but we're going to try it anyhow. He helped me in the first service. So if Elijah and I are on the same team, right? Vision means I can be looking over here and still make a great pass right where he's supposed to go. Right? Vision is not, now if I'm looking right at him, that just is awkward. Are you with me? See, when it comes to basketball, vision, I can throw a bounce pass. I can do lots of different things. But vision is not just seeing that he's open. It's not just seeing where he is, but it's also seeing the things that he could walk into. See, I've played with guys before as I'm dribbling the ball, and they cut somewhere, and he's about to walk off the edge of the stage, and I don't throw it. And then they're like, hey, I cut, why didn't you throw it? And I tell him, because you were going into something that was going to cause us to have a turnover. And we talked about pivot week 1, and it keeps us from turnovers. But you were going into something that was going to create a turnover. You couldn't see it, but I could see it. Come on, somebody. See, vision is necessary for us to have an assist. Don't go nowhere quite yet. Vision is necessary for us to have an assist. It's seeing clearly what's there, but also seeing what's not there. The second thing is trust. So if he cut one which way, and I don't throw it, what's he got to do? He's got to trust that I see something that he doesn't see. He's got to trust that, see, I was hoping he was looking. I got to be straight. That went right here, and I thought, oh, God, I don't even know if I was afraid it was going to, but he was ready. See, he's got to trust that even if I'm not looking at him, I see him, and I got to trust that he'll catch it if I throw it. I've got to trust that if I throw him the ball, that he is going to be in position to catch it no matter what, which is the third thing that it requires. It requires vision. It requires trust that they'll handle the pass. And if I cut, they'll see me. And the third thing is teamwork. It requires teamwork. You cannot win alone. What a lot of us do when it comes to really life, but to ministry, to jobs, to all these things, is we try to win by ourselves. And if I win by myself, there's a guy, Bam, the other day had 83 points, and he was being triple teamed the whole court, which makes for a great game because he had 83 points. But as a player, I was frustrated. I'm like, throw the ball, man, right? Get other people involved. You can't win big games alone. See, we have to understand that if I pass him the ball and he scores and wins, and he's on my team, what does that mean? I win. I remember being in probably 5th grade, 3rd grade, somewhere in there, and we're playing a fair play tournament, and I get a steal, and there's like 3 seconds left, and I get 4 seconds left, and I get a dribble, and I look up, and I'm wide open to shoot the ball. But my buddy cuts in front. What do? Give it up. I throw it to him. Adam Thomas, he's left-handed, but he shoots a layup. We win the game. Guess what that means for me? I won the game. I'm less concerned with my stat line and more concerned with my wins and losses. Come on, somebody. See, if we're going to win, we'll bring you back up probably. If we're going to win, it's important that we understand we have to have vision, trust, teamwork, and that if I win, you win, and if you win, I win, right? There's a few different types of assists that we're going to talk about in the next few minutes of time. We're going to talk about a leadership assist. We're going to talk about salvation assist, and we're going to talk about receiving the assist. Number one, a leadership assist. Acts chapter 9, 26 and 27. Here's what it says. We're in the NLT today. When Saul arrived in Jerusalem, he tried to meet with the believers, but they were all afraid of him. They did not believe he had truly become a believer. Then Barnabas brought him to the apostles and told them how Saul had seen the Lord on the way to Damascus and how the Lord had spoken to Saul. He also told them, see, look, I can see my teammate is walking out right now, and I even looking up. Just teasing you, buddy. Saul had on the way to Damascus and how the Lord had spoken to Saul. He also told them how Saul had preached boldly in the name of Jesus in Damascus. So Saul stayed with the apostles and went all around Jerusalem with them, preaching boldly in the name of the Lord. What a moment for Saul. Right, so like remove the hat. I would say remove the hat. Right, we're in church. We're talking about the Apostle Saul. But let's remove. This isn't just a story. Just for a second, you're Saul. Okay, you've been killing Christians, or at least a participant in the idea of it. You've been certainly capturing them and having them beaten, right? You've been pursuing them. You've been living, and you're doing it really in the name of God, in the name of religion, because you don't like what they're doing. And then you're on your way to do this very thing. You're on your way to try to get more Christians. You've got letters in hand to get these Christians thrown in, these Christ followers, the followers of the way. You're going to get them thrown in prison, and along the way, an angel shows up, strikes you with blindness. You hear the Lord. Essentially, in this moment, you no longer can see what's in front of you. You can only see what God's telling you. And in this moment, you encounter God and you realize everything you thought you understood it's all turned around on its head. You're totally blind and you don't know what you're going to do. And then some guy that you've never met shows up and says, man, Saul, my name's Ananias, and I had a vision of you, and I believe God's going to heal you. And sure enough, God heals you and God saves you, and your life is turned upside down. And all you want to do is meet with the church. So you show up to meet with the church, and what does the church do? They're like, nah, I don't know about all that. Like, nah, we heard the rumors. Come on now. Right? We heard the rumors. See, Saul in this moment had a life change, but no one believed him because he didn't have the evidence of life change. What do? You need help. You need an assist. Barnabas steps up. Barnabas then goes to bat for Saul. Now, you're no longer Saul, you're Barnabas. Like imagine, like we kind of give the church a bad rap in Acts 9 because we look at him, we're like, come on, man, the guy's saved. Why don't you trust him? Like, would you? Like for real, if I just heard that someone was murdering guys with gray brown hair, it used to be brown, then it was brown gray, now it's gray brown, brown gray hair with dimples, and blue and brown clothing, and let's say his name was Kyle, and then Kyle was like, I promise I've changed. Do you want to go to my house and have a party in the basement? Like, I'm not doing that. Like, get in my van. I promise it's safe. Like, no, don't do that, right? Like, so we can't give them a whole bad rap because they're just using natural wisdom, right? But the bottom line was someone had to see the fruit that there was an evidence of life change. So they're standing there, and the churches, all the leaders, the apostles are like, man, there's no way we are letting Saul into our camp. But Barnabas, who is known for this kind of a person, he steps up and he goes, guys, I know you're nervous, and I know you don't trust him. So trust me. I know that you're nervous about him, but if you trust me, I've seen the life change. I've heard him preach. I've seen him pray. I've seen all this stuff happen. And what happened for Saul? The church received him, and he started in this ministry. Barnabas assisted the church in accepting Paul. So my first question is, who are you assisting today? Right? It's a funny story. It was Bolivar, I'll just say it. Bolivar got a call from I was in Bolivar, and we have some police officers that go. And I was talking to one of them one day, this is a few years ago, and I was like, man, how's your week? He goes, it's been a pretty good week, but I got called to Walmart the other day. I said, you really got called to Walmart? This is a true story, not a joke. And he said, yeah. I said, what happened? He goes, well, a fight broke out in the bathroom. I said, that seems pretty normal for Walmart. No, I said a fight broke out he said a full-on fist fight broke out in the bathroom. So I got there and had to separate them and all that stuff. I said, really? What'd you do? He goes, well, it's pretty easy because both the people were members of the Hill. I said, well, that tracks, you know what I mean? That tracks. Right, we're that church. Come on. We're not the church that, listen, if you think this means for you to dot someone's eye when you go to the bathroom, and that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that we're always going to be a church that is assisting people to grow in their walk with Christ. Real talk, like we've had people call before our church and say, you can't let Casey in ministry. You know what Casey used to do? And I'm like, I do. I went to school with him. But here's the truth. If we can only use perfect people, we got nobody. So until Casey has fruit of his own, he's going to operate on mine. That's what Barnabas was saying. Until Paul has his own fruit, I'm going to assist him. Come on, somebody. Exodus 18, they've got 600,000, upwards to 2 million. It's a lot of people that he's led out of captivity. And he has this conversation with his father-in-law, Jethro. And his father-in-law shows up, and in about verse 14, they start this conversation. And Moses has got people everywhere. He's counseling. He's praying for people. He's deciding who's right in civil matters. He's the judge. He's the jury. He's doing everything. And Moses' father-in-law, Jethro, says this. He says, Moses, what are you doing? What are you really doing for all these people? What are you really accomplishing here? And I love that, but it's so offensive. Like if I'm Moses, I'm like, what do you mean? Remember the 600,000 people that were just in captivity, that were in Egypt, and I led them to, what do you mean? What am I accomplishing here? I'm accomplishing freedom. But this is such a deep question that Jethro asks, because he's not just asking, what are you doing now? He's really asking more of a vision type question, not what are you doing today, but what are you doing about your real problems today? And how are your real problems today and your leadership today going to carry on much later in life? And he goes on, he says, why are you trying to do all this alone? Everyone stands around you from morning till evening. The BJV, he basically says, Moses, if you keep this up, you are going to die. I'm like, thanks, Dad. You know what I mean? Like, ouch. Ouch. And if he was preaching this series, what Jethro would have said was, Moses, you're being a ball hog. You're being a spiritual ball hog. But as I started thinking, honest to God, through that, I started thinking how many of us are spiritual ball hogs. How many of us feel like it won't work without us. How many of us feel that if we're not involved, it's all going to fall apart? If I don't do every baby dedication, right? If I don't do whatever it is in your life, if I don't do it, we're going to fail miserably. It's this concept. Moses had this concept that if I'm not deciding, what if they do it wrong? And what if we go back into captivity because of these little things? And the truth is, guys, in every area of our life, the kingdom principle is called discipleship. So if that means when I was in sales, I was training younger sales guys. We're always training and always pouring into the people around us to help them grow in whatever their desires and whatever they're supposed to do in their life. Here's a few keys to training leaders. Number one, don't be insecure if they crush it. I know it seems so simple, but I've seen it happen a lot in my short life. Obviously, in basketball, I have to understand that if I throw that ball, you can just stay right there. But if he's posting up and I'm wide open for a three, but he's open down low, and I throw him the ball and he scores, I don't get the points. If I do that every time, I never make a 1,000-point club. But if we win every game, what do I care? Because it has to be we before me. The mission of the kingdom of heaven has to be greater than my preference. See, it's this understanding that, hey, if we win, I win. Even if he gets the stat line. Right? Even if he's the one that gets quote unquote credit for the score. For us, every campus, online, Stockton, Bolivar, Eldo, Webb, every campus, man, you guys radically love your pastors. And Stockton has incredible pastors. Amen? I can't be insecure about that. When people come up to me and they're like, hey, thanks for being here, but I love Pastor Tim. I'm never like, well, yeah, but what about me? And if I live, guys, the truth is, if we live like that, we don't fulfill the mission of peculiar ministry that God's called us to. If we live closed off, holding so tightly to whatever, we miss out on all he wants to put in our hands. God can never put more in a closed hand. But he will multiply what's in an open hand. Come on, somebody. See, we cannot be insecure about others' success. I love nothing more than when I get to come to one of our campuses and they're like, man, we have the best campus pastor of everybody. I'm like, that's amazing. You do. That's the kingdom. See, we can't be insecure when people around us win. What if I really want to shoot the ball? Who cares? What if they miss? Who cares? Right? My senior year playing for the Stockton Invitational Championship game, we were down by 1 point. There's 3 seconds left. It's funny how you remember these things. Any ball player knows because you go back to that place. Am I right, Coach? I'm coming down the floor, and A.J. Roller is about 15 feet in front of me. Now, I'm wide open, just a step on the other side of half court, but he's open at the three-point line. So I throw it to A.J. A.J. catches it and took a dribble, and as he shoots, this player just barely gets a finger on the ball, and it falls about 5 feet short. And after the game, someone was like, you should have shot it. I said, no, I shouldn't have. The right play is the right play, whether it goes in or not. He had a better look than I did. So at the end of the day, I want him to have, if I got the better look, I'll take it. But if he has the better, are you with me? See, it's not about the outcome. It's about obedience, right? Number 2 is we have to, which I kind of began to talk about, is making room for their mistakes. They're going to miss. If they miss, show grace. I told last year I was helping coach Jace's team, and he had this kid that was a really nice kid, but not great. Anyhow, the kid cut back door, and Jace makes this pass to this kid, and it goes, we were in Springfield, I think, or somewhere. Anyhow, it goes out of bounds, and I'm the assistant coach, and I stand up like, Jace, what are you doing? Like, why are you throwing the ball to that kid? And he goes, well, he cut and he was open. I said, has he caught that ball all year long? Jace went, no. I said, well, then quit throwing him the ball. Come on. No, that's bad coaching, okay? I'll admit it. I want to win. I was like, that kid ain't never going to catch that ball. We love him. We're praying for him. He's a good kid, but he can't catch. Someone says, that's mean. Just wait till I finish. No, I was wrong, though, because the reality is it was the right read. We have to be okay if people around us make mistakes. We have to give them enough room to fly, but also enough security that if they fall, we can catch them. That's what the kingdom looks like. The kingdom looks like, literally, I got here today, and we had baby dedications, and I was at Casey Afton, yesterday. They're like, hey, this is what this looks like, and I said, okay, you guys are going to help me with it. How many baby dedications have you done now? 2. 1. Well, 3, I guess, but I'm like, let's go. Let's figure this. Come on. We're going to be that church. Come on. Jonathan Petrie, some of you guys know him. He called me one night, like at 11, or text me, I think, at like 11 p.m. Don't text me at 11. And if you're having like heart problems, go to the hospital, then call me. There's nothing I'll pray, but anyhow. I don't mind if you do. But anyhow, I happen to be awake, and I typically am not, but I happen to be awake, and I saw the text, and it said, do you care if I rearrange the entire sanctuary? This is several years ago. We had one aisle and just the 2 rows of chairs. And this is what I said, sure, as long as you understand if I hate it, you have to fix it. And to this day, we still have 3 rows because it looked awesome. See, my point is we have to give people room. We can't be closed off to others' ideas just because it's different, right? And then lastly, we have to spend time pouring into them. Listen, guys, if we're not pouring into the people around us, we can't be surprised when they're dry. We can't be surprised whenever they don't grow, right? Coaching, I used to tell other coaches, but my job is their growth. Their job is their effort. I can't control their effort, but I can control their knowledge of the game and their discipline. Are you with me? Right? Moses in this moment allowed the people around him to lead, but he also knew he had to train them, and he trained judges. So, are you a spiritual ball hog? The second thing is a salvation assist, types of assists. Mark chapter 2, 2 through 4. Are we having fun yet? Anybody? All right. Mark chapter 2, 2 through 4. It says, soon the house where he was staying was so packed with visitors that there was no more room even outside the door. While he was preaching God's word to them, 4 men arrived carrying a paralyzed man on a mat. They couldn't bring him in to Jesus because of the crowd. So they dug a hole through the roof over his head, and they lowered the man on his mat right down in front of Jesus. Can you imagine that? Like again, remove the hat. We're at Peter's house. First of all, can you imagine like inviting the preacher over and literally him blowing the roof off? Like literally, can you imagine how you would feel if like Pastor Tim showed up and he was like, okay, this looks like a good spot for a hole. Like that's what Jesus shows up and it's packed. And there's nowhere to sit, right? The parking in Capernaum was terrible. It was on a hill and they couldn't add on. And so they went to multiple services with Jesus. And so it's packed. It's uncomfortable. There was no bathroom space. It was a mess. And these 4 friends were like, you know what? Kyle needs Jesus. And so Casey, Steve, Chris, we need to get Kyle to Jesus. He's in Capernaum. He's at Peter's house. Let's all go. So we go to Kyle's house, and we show him like, hey, Kyle, Jesus is here. And Kyle's, quadriplegic. He can't move. He's like, okay. And we're like, we think Jesus can heal you. And maybe for the first time in Kyle's life, he has hope. So we grab his mat, and we carry him all the way. Whether he was in Capernaum or out of Capernaum, we don't know. But what we know is at minimum, they carried him across the city, right, to get to this place. And when they finally get there, you can't get in. Have you ever been trying to get someone to Jesus and then met with disappointment? Lots of times in my life. And we get him there, and now there's no room to get him into the crowd, into the altar space where Jesus can minister to him. And these 4 friends go, what if we climbed up on the roof and tore off the roof? And that's exactly what they did. Can you imagine? First of all, can you imagine right now if all of a sudden a hole, like I'm picturing the friend's head going, okay, oh, he's over here. You know what I mean? I'm sorry. Squirrel, I'm just intrigued all of a sudden by someone like, there he is, you know. Some of you guys are like, you're imagining with me right now. You're like, that would be hilarious. Anyhow, imagine the crowd like getting hit with sheetrock and popcorn. Like, what is going on? The hole happens, and they lower this guy down and right in front of Jesus. And I love what it says. He said after seeing this paralyzed man's faith, it's after seeing their faith, he said, your sins are forgiven, and he healed him. Do you understand the power of this? It wasn't his tenacity that got him to the feet of Jesus. It was theirs. They were assisting in this man that had a broken life and a broken past and no vision and all that. They assisted in him encountering the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords, Jesus Christ, the Messiah, the creator of the cosmos. They created, not only did they do all the work, but they created space. See, if we're going to help people get to Jesus, if we're going to assist them meeting Jesus, we have to understand it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work, and it's not always easy. And sometimes it's discouraging. Matthew 11 talks about a load or a burden that we have to carry, and this is it. Right? We talked for 6 weeks about habits, and here's the truth. Salvation assists us sharing our faith. Guys, that's a disciple's habit. And I know we've talked about this, so I'm not going to re-preach this, but if you're here and you're like, well, but I'm a little more withdrawn and I'm a little more reserved, it doesn't matter. Because a disciple looks the same for an extrovert and an introvert. And discipleship looks the same for the 90-year-old guy and the 9-second-old new believer. The habits of a disciple are the same because Jesus modeled it. And we are not a disciple of the church. We are disciples of Jesus Christ. Come on, somebody. The second thing we see is it requires consistency. In basketball, I have to do the little things to get open. In basketball, it's essential that he keeps, you can just stay down there, that he keeps cutting. And if I don't see him, hop up and keep cutting, bro. It's essential that he's there and that I see him, and he's just going to keep moving. I didn't pass it yet. He's going to keep moving. He just keeps going the same way, but he ain't open. And so he's going to have to eventually go a different direction. Right? And there he is, and I lead him right along the way, and he caught it right in front of my son's face. About here, I got nervous. Consistency. What if it doesn't happen right away? Just keep being consistent. I had this guy, he was my neighbor, and I never got to pray a prayer of salvation with this guy, but I just consistently a neighbor, hey, what's up, buddy? Hey, Mark, living in Joplin. Hey, Bo, how are you? I'm blessed. How are you? I'm fine. That went on, and we would have conversations, and for probably like 2 years that he lived across the street from me, and one day he was a district manager for a chain of restaurant, and I went into one of the places that he managed, and he saw me. He walked up and he goes, hey, Bo, man, how are you? I said, I'm good. How are you, buddy? I've missed you. He said, my world fell apart. I said, I'm so sorry to hear that. My fiance left, and he just started going through all the things. And he goes, and I was discouraged, and I was depressed, and I started reading some books, and I got to this place, I thought, what's wrong with me? And he goes, and I thought about you, and I thought, well, I'm the source of a lot of people's problems. I'm happy it's you too. Should have mowed your grass, my bad. Turned you in on the HOA. I didn't do any of that. That's what he said. He goes, seriously, man, I thought, why do you always have joy? And I'm thinking to myself, and he said, why do you have joy and I don't? And I'm thinking, man, you make more money than me. You're better looking than me. You've got a nicer car. Like everything what the world would say would bring joy, you have. That's what he's thinking. He has all this stuff. Epitome of success, makes an incredible living, and yet he has nothing. And he goes, and I thought, why were you happy? And then I thought, what was the common denominator? That's what he said. He goes, you have church. Now, he had to have something tangible because it wasn't going to relate, well, you have Jesus, because in his mind, he had Jesus, but he had never really, Jesus didn't have him. Come on, somebody. And he started going to church, and I gave my life to the Lord, and I'm singing on the worship team now, and just started going through all the stuff. And as I think about that story, I'm like so thankful I didn't pray a prayer with him. I didn't pray a prayer with him. I didn't preach a sermon to him. All I did was see him open and give him the ball. Consistency. There's some people in your life, what you have to be is consistent with, right? These friends carried the load, but they also dug in and did the little things to get their friend to the feet of Jesus. Number 3, and the last thing, is receiving the assist. I mentioned it earlier, but it takes trust. It takes trust in people and trust in God. And I felt when I was praying through this whole thought, I felt such heaviness at this moment. And I felt like God was telling me that maybe someone in your life, you feel has broken trust with you. And when my son was young and playing, and in again, junior high, probably 7th grade, he would cut, and they were developing, The kids were developing, and so they didn't know how to necessarily see the whole floor and all that. And I was coaching them, and I would just say, man, just keep cutting. Just keep doing the little things. Because eventually, you're gonna develop this habit of them looking for you because you're always cutting to the bucket. One thing I've loved this year specifically, Megan and I were talking about the basketball team, and we loved watching Cannon Brown because anytime Cannon Brown ran around the screen, without fail, he curled hard and cut to the bucket. And he shot a lot of shots because of that. And we would tell Jace that, and Megan and I would talk about it, like if kids can learn to cut every time. Why? Because now the team's looking for it. See, some of us, for whatever reason, we didn't get the ball. Things didn't go. Maybe you were praying for something and it didn't happen the way you wanted it to happen. Maybe someone let you down and they didn't do what you wanted them to do. And maybe it was intentional and maybe it was accidental, but it doesn't change the fact that for whatever reason you feel like trust has been broken. How do I handle that? Keep cutting. Keep going. Keep being faithful. Because like I told that kid in the first story, just because I'm not looking at you doesn't mean I don't see you. And that's what I hear the Father saying. Just because you feel like no one is looking at you doesn't mean that he doesn't see you. And the second piece of that is timing. See, if I'm going to trust God with all, right? If I don't trust God with all, I don't trust him at all. And trust comes to timing. I have to trust God that God will move at the right time, not my time. See, it's important that I understand I'm ready even if I don't feel it. We were trying out for this team, and my buddy TJ played for the Harlem Globetrotters, and he's played for the Rockets and a lot of overseas teams. And I played a lot of ball with him when he was in college. Matter of fact, can I tell you a quick story? Megan was playing college volleyball, and I was playing intramurals, and we were in the championship game, and this guy goes, the director of it all, he says, hey, Bo, come here. So I walk over there, and he goes, do you go to college here? I said, no, sir. And he goes, then why are you playing intramurals? Because it's for college kids. And I said, well, they asked me if I wanted to play, and I said I wanted to. And he goes, don't you think you should be attending this college? And this is what I told the guy. I said, I had the same concern. But they told me all I needed was a driver's license, and I have one. And he goes, here's the deal. You can't play in this last game, or I'm throwing you guys out. I was like, deal. Anyhow, TJ, we played a lot of ball together. And so TJ said, hey, come bring Jace up. I want him to try out for the juniors team. And so I bring Jace up, and he's got several D1 kids in his program. And so he don't have to work. And probably, 3 minutes in, he always called me Bobo, so he calls Jace Little Bobo. Now he calls me Pastor Bobo. Anyhow, he sees Jace is running a curl, and he gets to the corner, and Jace stands up waiting for the ball. And TJ goes, Little Bobo, you better be ready to shoot. He said, you standing there, straight up and down, you ain't ready. You got to be ready, Little Bobo. And Jace said, yes, sir. He runs the drill, comes back in, gets back in his. He runs around, stands up. Him and another kid. The other kid was Little Bobo and Big Red. And this is what the coach said. TJ said, Little Bobo, if I got to tell you again to be ready to shoot, I'm going to tell you just to get out of my gym. And right now, some of you guys are like, well, that's so harsh. I was like, get him. Eat him alive. Come on, every competitive parent. Like, get on him. Work harder, Little Bobo. No, what TJ was saying is this, Little Bobo, I believe in you. But when you're not ready, it's telling me that you don't believe in you. It's telling me that as a player, if you're not ready, it tells me that I really can't give you the ball because you don't want it, because you're not ready. See, in the kingdom of God, we have to trust God. We have to trust the people around us. But just as important as those are, it's trusting God's timing. Because at the right time, Romans 5 says the nick of time, when we could do nothing about our situation, he died for us. Would you bow your heads? We're about ready to move into our time of interactive worship, and it's going to be great. We have communion set up. It's our time for offering. But I want us to take just just a couple seconds. Casey's going to come up, but just a couple seconds, 15, 20 seconds. And I just want you to ask the Lord a couple things before we go back into worship. And number one is this. First thing I want you to ask the Lord is, am I ready to meet you? Am I living for you? The second thing I want you to ask is this: who in my world am I assisting? Who in my world can I introduce to you? And the third thing I want you to ask yourself is, are you ready to receive the assist? Are you trusting your team, and are you trusting God's timing? Just one second.
We never want to let a service go by without the chance of, like in the last song, of receiving the blood, being washed from the inside. Online, in person. If today's the day, if you've not been washed by the blood, if you've not got that chance, you don't know God, we want today to be that day. So on the count of 3, we're going to ask you to stick your hand up. We won't embarrass you in any way, shape, or form. We'll send somebody back to you, but we want to give you that opportunity. Online, put your hand emoji up or text the number or whatever it may be. But we just want everybody to have that opportunity. 1, 2, 3. Is there anybody at all? Thank you. Anybody else?
Hey guys, welcome back. Thank you guys again for just joining us today, being a part of the Hill Online today. We're just always so thankful that you show up week after week just to hang out with us online and be a part of this. And that while you can't be in person, you're choosing to still be online with us every Sunday morning. So we really appreciate that. And guys, man, our prayer is that today's message just spoke to your heart in some way, shape, or form, man, that it's challenged you, that it's moving you forward in your faith walk. And so if we can help you, if we can assist in any way with that, man, we want to do that. Maybe you made a decision today to follow Jesus, man. We want to know. Yeah. We want to celebrate that with you. If you're interested in baptism or groups or anything like that, man, just text that word CONNECT to 417-670-2727, and Dustin and I will reach out to you this week and just assist you however we can.
Yeah. And what's one way in your life that you can apply that, right, man? Mm-hmm. Our challenge for you for this week is pray to God, man, who in your life can you assist? And man, and just begin to do that, man. Every day, or however you want to wake up, man, God, show me someone, man, or just, it might be a week or 2, it might be a year of assisting one person, but man, we're searching for one person to enter the kingdom. Yeah. That's our mission, man, one person at a time. That's right. Man, just that we can impact them some way in their life to start serving the Lord. Absolutely. Yeah. So good. Guys, we don't have to do it all at once. But there's one person that you can be praying for, and you can invite to church or into a group or whatever that looks like for you. So great challenge. Also, guys, before we let you go, I do have an announcement. Good Friday service is coming up April 3rd, Friday the April the 3rd. It's our favorite service of the whole year. So you guys do not want to miss this. Be a part of this. If you can be in person, that's going to be 2 services, 5:30 and 7:30 at our Bolivar campus. If you can attend, that's great. If you can't, we will be live online that night at 7:30 p.m. So you can catch us right here on our YouTube page to be a part of that online as well. Guys, thank you so much again for being with us. We love you, and we hope that you have an incredible week, and we'll see you back here next Sunday morning at 11 a.m.